Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Mull for Monday, the 31st of July. With Robert Murray McShane, one of the chapters we read today is Acts chapter 16, continuing to look at the spread of the gospel. Paul moves from Athens to Corinth and spends quite some time there. While he's there, he meets a husband and wife team, Aquila and Priscilla, and they've come down from Rome. And he stays with them. They're tent makers like himself, so he works with them, stays with them, and teaches in the synagogue, probably together with them. And we're told that eventually he decides to move on. Then Paul left the brothers and sailed for Syria, accompanied by Priscilla and Aquila. So Priscilla and Aquila go with him, and they get to Ephesus. And Paul moves on from Ephesus, but leaves Priscilla and Aquila there. And so they continue ministering, even though he's gone on. And we're told that a Jew named Apollos, a native of Alexandria, came to Ephesus. He was a learned man with a thorough knowledge of the scriptures. He had been instructed in the way of the Lord, that is, the Christian faith, and he spoke with great fervor and taught about Jesus accurately, though he knew only the baptism of John. And so here's another Christian that doesn't quite have the whole picture. He knows enough to believe, and he's standing on that. But there's gaps in his knowledge. We're told he began to speak boldly in the synagogue. When Priscilla and Aquila heard him, they invited him to their home and explained to him the way of God more accurately. And here we have this movement of the gospel, that Paul knows it, and he meets with Priscilla and Aquila. And it's interesting, as you read through Acts and the rest of the New Testament, Priscilla always comes first, and a number of people suggest that she was the more prominent of the duo in teaching the gospel. So Paul passes the gospel on to the two of them. They then go and are teaching in Ephesus, and they pass the gospel on to Apollos. And so Apollos learns it and grows from what they've taught him. And right at the end of the chapter, we're told, when Apollos wanted to go to Achaia, the brothers encouraged him and wrote to the disciples there to welcome him. And so Apollos now takes the gospel on to Achaia. And here you have the gospel moving from person to person to person. And for me, that's a great encouragement. To continue talking about the gospel, continue sharing the gospel, continue encouraging other people to do that as well, because you never know who you're going to impact. Not everybody can be an evangelist like Paul was, but maybe you can be like Priscilla and Aquila and help people to grasp the gospel more deeply, more firmly, more strongly. And Apollos certainly had an impact later on. So we have this we'd say today, organic spread of the gospel. Not one great preacher that converted everybody, but lots of individuals passing the gospel from one person to another, and it continues like that today. So be encouraged as you share the gospel, as you live the gospel, as you shine the gospel into our dark world. May God be with you, and may you be blessed.